All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, the slow short squeeze continues. That is what we laid out yesterday as our probable scenario here. I said I hated to say it because I was hoping we get, we get a swift pullback over here into previous all-time highs on SPY and QQ, and that would bring the next wave of buyers into the mix to end the slow short squeeze. But I did point to that, unfortunately, using SPY, QQ, IWM, and VIX in yesterday's video. That is what we came up as the probable scenario, and I'm telling you right now, that is exactly what's happening right now. Okay, VIX still has not gotten back down to this low. VIX is very likely going to take out 1611, which means you should be looking for further upside on the indices. I know it's frustrating. I know the slow price action, it is frustrating. That's what happens with a low VIX. But at the end of the day, the thing wants to keep going up. You're going to trade what's in front of you, and that's your job as a trader. If you don't want to do that and you just want to be right, you're probably going to be losing your money. You don't want to be having a bad time like that. It's very easy to avoid having a bad time in this market. You just got to do what you know you got to do. Okay. And, as of right now, I still think we will have a sharp pullback at some point. I think it's going to happen from higher prices here. Market very clearly, bulls are still in control. We want to keep grinding higher. That's what it's going to do until it shows us otherwise. I think VIX is going to take out that 1611 low I just pointed out. And I think some things could be heating up. All right. But at the end of the day, it's not a reason to really be chasing the market. Okay. You're going to focus on your good setups. You're going to focus on your A+ setups, I should say. All right. And you're going to execute on them. And, you're going to trade what is in front of you. And as of right now, things are still moving up. I got some hot stocks that we're going to point out at the end of the video. Hopefully some of you guys are already playing some of them that I'm talking about because they're paying. All right, let's get after it. SPY, guys, you hit 620 today. That's what we said in yesterday's video. If you come up, 619.22, you break that. It's very likely just going straight to 620 the same session. All right, from here, guys, next psych level is going to be 625. I think there's a chance we head up there. We got the low volume squeeze continuing. We just broke out from this 2-day range over here. This 2-day range, it was a whole 4.18. All right, just about 4 points. Well, that, above here, it brings us up to 623. All right, so that's going to be the measure move from the range we just broke out of. That's what you can be targeting. Okay, on the downside, we have 619.22, 615.04, and then 613.23. If we do end up pulling back into here, that is something that I do think will bring buyers back into the mix. We still have not tested that 5 EMA, so I'm still just going to say at some point this thing is going to consolidate. It's going to go sideways, a little more than, our 2 days of consolidation over here. But I was telling you guys when we got this candlestick right here, this isn't something, if you look back, you're just not really going to be topping on these things. If you are going to be topping on these things, you go flat and then you fall off. But most of the times we see that kind of candlestick, you end up, it's just going to mark a local high and you pull back, something like this. You pull back for a few sessions and then you take out that high again. Doesn't mean you go much higher than that, but we did point out and identify that, that is something that if you just look back on these daily charts here, there's not something you normally see provide a top. It's just kind of a local top before a few days of pullback before you come back up to a new high. And that's exactly what we have going on over here. Okay, so that's SPY. We're going to come over here to QQQ. And QQQ, guys, you have not broken out to new all-time highs yet. On the downside, you're just watching 544.66. Underneath there, previous all-time high at 540.81 right there. All right, and then on the upside, guys, above 550.71, yesterday's high, coming straight up to 552.80, baby. I think it's pretty obvious. Markets, they want to continue higher here. We're very likely going to be testing 552.80 tomorrow and breaking above that. SPY can head to that 623 mark I just pointed out. Maybe test that psych level 625. But QQ over here closed out with a bullish engulfing candlestick, and you did peek your head above 550.71. You held up, all day sitting right here. This thing wants to go higher, guys. It wants to push 552.80. Above 552.80, we're talking 555. That's the next cycle level you're watching over here. But bulls are very clearly still in control until they prove that they're not. but that's, you know, we'll find out after the fact. But as of right now, guys, the easiest method of making money is to identify the trend and go along with that trend. It's going to be your friend until the end. It's as stupid as it sounds. I understand it sounds stupid. All right. But in reality, that is the easiest way to make money. You don't need to be fighting things. And, you know, I do my best to show you guys plenty of opportunities on this channel consistently. If you want to come trade with me, I'm live every single day. I have all the intention in the world to be killing this market. So far, we have been killing this market. All right. And I do think there are a lot of hot setups right now that are about to take flight next week. All right. Specifically, I'm going to point one out today at the end of this video that we talked about the other day, that yesterday, yeah, you had me in the first half. But yeah, as of today, it fully recovered, and no, it looks like it's going to freaking explode. So we're going to talk about it at the end of today's video. All right, but that's SPY and QQ. We're going to come over to IWM. Speaking of those hot setups right now, IWM is one that we are in. You know, I'm targeting 223. That's where I plan on taking the exit there. We did break above yesterday's high. We had this nice long upper wick. We then closed today above it. That is probably going to move us up further to that next area of interest, which is going to be 223.01. If you are taking the trade with me, okay, you know, I pointed out in the weekly update, I pointed out all the bullish flow over there that was coming in IWM, 718 calls, 718, 218s, 218C, 220, 221, 222. Which, you know, after, you know, I saw them, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hop on this thing. It was right over here that day, and you know, hey, had me in the first half, but you know, whales typically know something that we don't, and if they are sitting there slamming something like they were today on MSTR at the low, literally just lighting this shit up this morning. You know, they've been lighting it up for weeks now, but oh, you just see this whale. I was telling my people, you know, honestly, they're 50-50 over here on the MSTR whales. Straight up, you know, I've seen a lot of them. They usually, they at least break even. I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they don't just buy some time so they can, you know, really catch the move without stress. But, you know, they were lighting it up for next Friday this morning. And yeah, you know, this time they ended up, you know, they caught a little squeeze there, and I think that squeeze is just starting. So this was the very hot stock. I'm going to point out another one that's going to be moving with this at the end of the video. Honestly, we got a lot of hot setups I'm going to point out in this video. But yeah, I mean, this thing did save the weekly candle over here. This is what I was saying makes sense. If you close the week out with the red candlestick over here on MSTR, you're probably not going to just be busting up out of this range and starting the impulsive move next week like I thought. Well, they completely saved this shit. Pardon my French, they completely saved it. And if you could take out right over here Monday's high at 407.39, like this thing's coming straight up to 415, 420. Above there, 430.35, and then 445. It's in the cards. All right, real talk. I talked about this the other day, and you got this double bottom breakout you got going on. Boom, they had you in the first half. They ended up shoving you right back up there, right up to the highs. That's 36 points. We're going to round down and say 35. Well, 35 points takes you straight up to 430. So that is going to be the target here. If you're trading this guy with me, that is where you're looking to take your exit. Okay, that is your final target over here. In reality, it's probably going higher than there. Okay, but if you were entering with me, all right, and if you took advantage of this freaking dip over here, I'll tell you right now, I know you're going to be up a pretty penny no matter what expiration you're talking. Okay, but you know, I currently got the 718 cons going, and I think those are going to be up quite a freaking bit once we get up there. And yeah, anybody trained with me, you got no business being a greedy little pig, you know, catching a couple 100% and not taking your money off. That is that. Okay. We have plenty of opportunity every single week to, you know, pull out these 50 to 100% to plus gains. Okay. You know, some of these run hundreds of percents. We have plenty of setups to focus on every single week. And I do think a fresh wave of setups is going to be igniting into next week. So we're going to talk about those at the end of the video, okay? But coming back over here to IWM, guys, above 220.67, which we got a close above today. The next level is going to be 223.01. Above there, 228, okay? 227.98 to be exact. But this thing looks like a monster. This thing looks like it wants to play some catch up to the other indices. I told you guys about it, you know, right here on this week when the weekly cloud was about to flip, and then we started flipping in and we said, hey, all right, I pointed out my arrows over here, and all of these led to further upside. Okay, there's that. But yeah, IWM, you know, you're looking for bulls to continue taking this higher up to 223. That's what we're looking at the short term. We also pointed out DIA in yesterday's video. You traded completely flat. It was the only index over here that didn't really move today. But I'll tell you, this thing is making it up to all-time highs. Whether it wants to go straight up there or not, if we get a pullback, it's pretty obvious that we want to be buying that pullback because the thing is going up to all-time highs. So I'm not saying over here on DIA, but if the market starts pulling back and this thing is not at new all-time highs, it's only a matter of time until it gets bought up. All right. So, you know, that's what it's telling me. Everything is probably going to continue moving up. We, you know, closed out the month like this. Okay. This is how you closed last month. Do you think that's something that's bearish? That strong, wide-bodied bar over here into new all-time highs and you close out the month there? No, it's not something bearish. Any dips are going to be buying opportunities. Don't be a fool. All right, so those are the indices, guys. Let's quickly go through these Mag 7 stocks. Amazon, big laggard today. Amazon and Meta just absolutely not moving with the market today, especially Meta over there. But, you know, I'm just going to say Amazon's still just stuck in this consolidation. And if you can break above yesterday's high at 221.88, I think this sees a very quick move up to 223.72. And it probably goes 225.86 the same day. I do think a big move is still low over here. You know, we just broke out from this low range. This is an 11-point range. All right. We only had a 5-point move. So that would bring us up to, 230. Okay. So Amazon, look for the dip to be bought. I don't know if they're going to save the weekly candle by, you know, sending it to Valhalla tomorrow. I have absolutely no idea, but I'll tell you, I'm looking for this bad boy to catch a bid over here. 4-hour chart really doesn't look all that bad. And if you can just even break out of this range right here, that's 3.5 points. 3.5 points to the upside brings you straight up to 225. All right. So that's going to be a target if you're a short-term trader over here on Amazon. GOOG, this is one that I think this is getting ready to go. I pointed this out. We want to see buyers over here. I decided to get back in the beast over here today. And, you know, I'll tell you right now, I think we're coming up to 183.63 in the short term. Then I think above there, we head up to 188.71. That's that next key level. So 190 plus could be on deck over here probably next week over here on GOOG. Either we're going to launch this thing into next week or we are going to pull back to 178 sometime next week early on, and then we're probably going to find buyers and then we launch this thing next week. Okay, but short term, you're bullish over here on GOOG. NVDA, all right, does that look like something you want to be real bearish on? It doesn't look like something I'd be bearish on, but then again, you guys know me. I'm going to go with the trend. There's no reason not to. And the trend, yeah, it's been an aggressive uptrend. There's absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People get bearish on these things. People open up puts into strength. I think it makes absolutely no sense. And I think you're going to realize it's over time. You're going to realize, what the heck have I been doing with my money? It makes no sense what I just did. I could have rode the trend and I could have, you know, what I just lost, I could have had the equivalent gain on the other side. And that's honestly, that's how you're going to make money in these markets, guys. It's not going against things. You're not trying to short the thing for this little ass pullback that we told you. All right. Like, it's not worth shorting. Whatever amount, whatever size that pullback was going to be, the real money was to be made on buying that dip. Okay. And so far, guys, it does look like it wants to push back up to 158.71, but I will just say I have been trading NVIDIA for years, and most of the time when I see something like that you know, gets me all bulled up, I'm like, oh, it's gonna go immediately back up. I see this thing range out, all right, and then it still goes up in the end, but it hits it with this crap where, you know, oh, it looks like it wants to explode, and then boom, you come right back down to the bottom of the range. You ranged out for quite some time. All right, everyone in the market is seeing the same exact thing, and yes, it can just continue, but I'm telling you, do not be surprised if this thing just trades flat. Okay, it's not one that I'm focused on. I think the ones to focus on right now are Google and Amazon. Coming over here to Apple. Apple is there as well in the list. Okay, Apple, it got above 209.48 today, guys. And what happened? You hit it with a freaking squeeze kind of move. All right, above 214.56, guys. We're talking 219.38 can come quick. That's about 220, and then above there 225. In between 220 and 225, you will have your 200 DMA at 223. Coming over here to Microsoft. What do we got cooking over here on Microsoft? Again, with the weakness, not really moving up with the market. All right. It's not one that I would, you know, say is risk reward. I don't think it's worth trading this thing. I really don't. Like, you could trade short-term contracts, you could trade your shares, but like, yeah, I mean, there are ones that haven't gone yet, and I will highlight these as we go. The time is not to play Microsoft, in my personal opinion. It doesn't mean it's gonna, it doesn't mean it's a short. It just means you're probably gonna continue this slow squeeze price action. You don't really need to be playing it. Meta, really just showing the weakness. You thought Amazon and Microsoft were showing the weakness today? No. All right, Meta is straight up selling. I personally think this thing, like, if you don't save this weekly candle and get it all the way back up here, 735, 740 tomorrow, then yeah, I think this thing is just going to trade flat and base out for a few weeks, and then maybe it moves up off of earnings, maybe it moves down, but I do not think it's really going to be, making this crazy move here over the coming weeks. I think if it wanted to do so, it was going to do so this week, and it clearly is telling us it doesn't. If you close out like that, it's called the dark cloud cover. Yeah, I mean, it's probably at least going to lead to something like that, consolidation going sideways as moving averages catch up. And I assume then we get the next big move off of earnings. We made our money off of it. Congrats.
That was easy.
If you did end up making money off of it with us over here, we were waiting patiently for our breakout. We got the breakout. You got your quick 100, 200% opportunity on, rather dated cons there. If you took shorter dated cons, you could have made a killing. But, in reality, that ship has sailed, and we have no reason to be focused on it right now. So do yourself a favor, don't focus on it right now. It's not the one with the setup. All right, coming over here to Tesla. I know. It's looking like everyone's getting all bulled up again over here in Tesla. I'm telling you right now, though, it's still just not worth messing with. What the heck is this thing? It's consolidating around the moving average, to consolidate around the 200 DMA. You got buyers in the golden pocket. You respected a key level over there. You got bought right back up, but you haven't moved. You haven't moved for like a month and a half now. There's no edge here, okay? You start breaking above this whole area, there's an edge, all right? You have the weekly trend continuing, all right? The uptrend, it won't look bad. But I'm telling you right now, until you see that, I know it's, Henry, why are you telling me to buy it all the way up here when I could buy it down here? Because you don't know if it's going to be moving down here. You got no business trading it down here. You're buying it right into the bottom of the range you just broke down. You're buying it right into the 200 DMA. You're buying it right here on the gap fill, right underneath the daily moving averages. I'm telling you right now, you got no business taking it. It's a complete gamble. It's 50-50. You don't know which direction it's going to go. I'm biased to the upside here because of how higher time frames are set up. But I'll tell you right now, the thing wants to do a whole lot of, whoop-wah, going back and forth. You got no business trading it. All right, so just avoid it like the plague, and then focus on the ones that actually have setups. Let's go over some of these right now. Shopify, getting ready for a big move next week. I'm assuming it's going to be next week, but either way, it's getting ready for a big move. I assume it's happening before earnings over here. That is, at the very end of July. So we got plenty of time to make this move here. I am assuming if we see this breakout either tomorrow or early next week here, I think you're probably going to consolidate, pull back, fake everybody out here, and then you hit it with the move up to 130. All right, so that's definitely something I'm watching over here. Not something I'm in yet, not something I'm playing yet, but I am keeping on watch, and it will probably be something I execute on early next week. If we get what I just described, I think it's going to be an A+ setup that presents itself. You just got to be patient for it. Next one is over here on Uber. All right, Uber is one that's still in consolidation. You still got your shot to take, take your shot. You still have your chance to take your shot over here. Ideally, you want to be buying it towards the low end of the range. It's going to be around $90. You keep getting bought up over here, so we know demand is there. This is something just like over here after you got your fresh, not fresh all-time highs, but your fresh little pop there, hit it with the break and retest. Well, that's exactly what you got going on over here. You want to take it a step further. Weekly chart, you hit it with the break and retest for like a month and a half here. All right, you just start breaking out. This thing's going up to new highs. It's going up to $100. It's just, it's your willingness to wait on that move. But I'm telling you, the setup is loading, and yeah, it's probably going to hit it with the 1-2 at some point. Probably next week, honestly. If it doesn't go tomorrow, then probably next week it starts moving. Okay, so that is Uber. Now, to really talk about what I think should be the focus right now is Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin and the stocks that are going to be moving with it, which I pounded the table on MSTR the other day. It fell flat in its face yesterday. Made all of us think, oh, the thing is a complete failed breakout. Okay, it technically was a complete failed breakout because you hit it with this. But then what happens the following day? Oh, sweet baby Jesus, they brought it right back up. All right, so congrats if you ended up holding through the pain over there. All right, I think we're about to bank. And I think we're about to make a lot of freaking money if this thing can move up to 430. Real talk. All right. Anyone buying it down here, premiums, they might seem high. But I'm telling you, once this thing just has, you know, a few weeks of just moving straight up here, all right, or even a few days there, premiums get pumped and they stay pumped for a while. And I'm telling you right now, the thing hasn't gone yet. It's about to go. And this could be a moneymaker for you. All right. But, you know, really the thing that's going to be moving off of is going to be Bitcoin over here. And Bitcoin absolutely exploded today. I know it's not the biggest percent gain over there, but let's be real about it. It was looking pretty crappy before. And all of a sudden, it's broken all of the key levels that it needs to get above, okay? 109.3K, this is where we are really going to be watching. That was the previous all-time high. I want a weekly close above there. With what just happened today, I feel like you're probably going to make it up to new all-time highs this week. You know, above 109.3, you have 110.5K, and above there, you go straight to 112K. The fact that you made it all the way back up there, after putting in this, I'm pretty sure I said it would make sense to me. In yesterday's video, I think I'm pretty sure I said it makes sense to not have this close out as a red candle, to see this all turn into a lower wick. And what happened? Oh, it all turned into a lower wick, just like we were saying. This doesn't make sense. If MSTR is going to go, it's not going to close out with a red week. They're going to freaking save it into the end of the week. And, you know, while it was looking grim and I didn't think they were going to do it, gosh darn, they ended up doing it. Okay. So I do think this is one that hasn't gone yet. I do think it's about to start a really big move here up to 430 pretty quick. And you can take advantage of that if you would like. The other one that I'm playing off of this. All right, guys. So I grabbed the 360C over here, and I do think for 7/11, next Friday's expiration. I think it was next Friday. I don't think I grabbed the 18th over here. All right. You know, real play over there is on MSTR. Coinbase already really mooned over here. All right. But this is one that I also think is going to be moving with it. I think if we're going to get a move, it's going to happen into next week. It happens tomorrow into next week. Very clearly, you had buyers defend this low over here. You took it through the high. You closed out with a bullish candlestick. But real talk, if Bitcoin goes, guys, Coinbase is now something that, you know, we know is moving better than MSTR. We know there is demand over here for Coinbase. This is a catalyst that can give it that next move up past 382 and start to move up to 400 and then 430. So real talk, it could be about to start moving again. You heard it here first. Maybe you didn't, but either way, I'm trading it alongside MSTR over there, but MSTR really is the baby that has not gone yet that I think is about to freaking explode. All right. I'm not usually wrong. Sometimes I do get things flat out wrong, but usually when I'm looking wrong in the short term, it's just a matter of time until things play out. All right. I'm only putting A+ setups on your radar at the end of these videos, stocks that I think are getting ready to move, about to make their move so you can make your money. And I think MSTR and Coinbase are about to be on the move. I did identify Riot coming into the week. This is one that closed out with a bullish engulfing candlestick here on the weekly candle. It kind of has already started exploding, so I wouldn't really be chasing it. But yeah, I mean, all of these things really do look like they're, yeah, they're about to be making some really big moves. Okay. All of them are making really big moves. HUT ended up having some, I think it was 2026 calls come in today for the, I think it was the 39 strike, or 37 or 39 strike here for $2 million. Maybe they're 2027. Either way, there's a big whale in the water over here on HUT that thinks this thing is about to make a comeback story all the way up to 32 bucks. Okay, so that's something to watch as well. All right, and then you also have IREN. That is one that is a retail favorite over here, and it has absolutely already started exploding. I think it's probably going to continue up now that it is heading past here. Hang on one sec. There we go. Above 1575. Like, you guys can see what I'm seeing here. Next stop is going to be all the way at, you know, 18 bucks. Above there, you're just coming to your IPO high over there, which is at 28.25. I do think this is one that could continue moving. You're breaking out of a big base over here. You know, you pretty much hit it with the break and retest off of this whole range you got going on over here. And this thing is probably about to make some moves this next month. So keep it on the radar. But I'm telling you right now, Coin and MSTR, those are the ones that I am trading this Bitcoin move with. And I think they're going to have real good movement here. But, you know, this monthly chart, it looks sexy. The weekly chart, it looks really sexy. The daily chart after today, oh, you read my mind. Fucking sexy. Pardon my French. All right. But, you know, that is the gist of what we got cooking today, guys. Other than that, I'm still just going to point out Walmart, Mr. Wally over here. It is still probably going to be starting to break out next week. If not next week, like, it's only a matter of time until the setup ignites over 99.5. And I think this is something you should keep on your radar. All right. SOFI, I'm liking the look of SOFI. If we do end up hitting it with the doji candlestick, I think it's going to be like these two over here, where we just hit it with another 20% week the following week, 15-20%. All right. I don't think we're going to get much pullback over here. I'm not telling anybody to chase it, but if you want something to focus on the short term, if you're a short-term trader, I think SOFI is probably going to be taking out this 1892 high in the short term, maybe tomorrow. Okay, if you get a little gap up over your 1850, get a little pullback, 18 bucks, 1810, maybe that provides an entry for the move up to 1892. And then above 19, guys, you guys know what I'm about to say, all right? We're coming up to that $20 psychological level because that is going to act as a magnet. All right, CCL, big breakout. Big base breakout, I should say, if it gets above 31.52. This is one I'm going to be watching for smaller time frame setups over the coming months because I do think bigger the base, bigger the move. We have a massive freaking base that took 5 whole years. This thing is about a move, okay? So I'm not saying right now, I know it's moving right now, but I'm going to be waiting for that little pullback. We get some consolidation going on up here. It's going to bring in the next wave of buyers, and we can ride that. Okay, with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, please remember to leave a like. It helps me out. It really is the only thing that fuels the growth on this channel. I would just genuinely appreciate the living crap out of it if you can leave me a like on these videos. I put a lot of time and effort in, and I will keep you guys updated. All the hot stocks, as well as where the indices are moving, and just that broad, you know, bigger picture point of view on the market. Okay, so please remember to leave a like. If you are new here, welcome to the team. All right, welcome to our little community over here, our little corner of YouTube. We're gonna grow into the wall of YouTube. Okay, not just gonna be a corner at some point, but you know, for now we have our little corner of YouTube over here. But help me turn it into a big old wall by leaving a like on the video, and yeah, hit it with a comment. That also helps the YouTube algorithm. I love hearing from you guys. You guys are great people. Okay, with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.